Hello peeps, Dee here. Welcome to my studio. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this little class. Now in this class we're going to make this particular pin. Started out wanting to make earrings, ended up making pin. I had so much fun making this one. I went and I made those, and I have more in the oven because I couldn't stop myself. Now, am I going to give you all these shapes? No, you're going to cut them. Yeah, I think you're going to like the process. I think you're going to find out how simple it is. And you know what? If you do your own shapes and you do your own colors, just follow the basic strategy to make them, and you're going to end up with pieces that look more like you than look like me. Yeah, I guarantee it. Okay, so I say let's get started. This is a fun one. I think you're going to enjoy it. So my clay's been rolled through setting number 6, very thin. And then I pressed it to a clean tile, and you want to push all the air out. You don't want any air between the clay and the tile. Now you're going to start drawing. Yeah, you're just going to draw with your needle. So let's make a spiral quickly. Now, one thing about the clay, I did soften it quite a bit. I used my conditioning bar to soften it. And one of the nice things is that the conditioning bar not only softens it, it makes it sticky. So this sheet is really stuck to my tile. So I just drew a spiral. Okay, so let's make a boomerang. I'm just cutting, or not cut, well, I'm actually drawing and cutting at the same time. I am. Okay. Something like that. I don't know exactly what that is, but it's okay. Now I'm going to make a splat. I love splats. Love them. Like so, a splat. Let's go a little bit deeper in here, because just a little bit. So, you can make adjustments to the shape, like so. What should we do now? Don't know if I'll use these, but hey, why not? Why not? Looks kind of like a dog. Just a little bit like a doggy. What do you think? A little kind of club shape, cloud shape. Okay, so let's make something that does look like. Okay, quite easy to do. Now the hard thing might be getting this clay up. No, not too bad. So you're just going to remove this clay, and then we're just going to cure all these cutout shapes. Yeah, you know what? I find this much easier than drawing on paper and going through all that razzmatazz, okay? So let's pop these in the oven, then I will be back. Okay, peeps, so this is not the same one, but hey, it doesn't matter because this is what you're gonna do to the one I just cut. Okay, see all these? They're stuck. You wanna leave them on the tile. Now, these are cold. And what I'm gonna do, because it's easier now when they're stuck on the tile, I'm gonna sand the surface. Much easier. And what this does, it kind of knocks off any of these extra little bits of clay that might be hanging on. Okay, didn't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to knock them off. Now, the advantage of using these clay templates, they're very durable. They're clay. Much more durable than paper, certainly. And you know, I'm going to be making some earrings, so I want to be able to cut both sides, so I do mirror images. I highly recommend mirror imaging when you're doing earrings. It just looks so much better, right? Doesn't take any more effort when you work like this either. All right, so that's enough sanding. That's fine. So let's just take them off. Take them off. I sound like Julia Child. Oh, yeah. Okay, so there you go. Now, the edges. The edges should not be too rough. Mine are not. That sanding on the surface really knocked off a lot of those irregular, jagged little pieces that might have been there. Now, that is kind of sticking out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this guy and just cut it off. These are fine. Okay, how are you? Oh, little jagged piece there. Come on, get up. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with these. These are fine. They're ready to be used. Now, the back side is flat and shiny, so you might want to just sand them just a bit. I have my Auburnet. Oh, by the way, this is P180 Auburnet. So you can just it's hard because it's so thin, but just do your best, maybe holding like this, and then just taking the sandpaper like so. If necessary, sand the edge. Looked like it was a little jagged, so, but just do one of those numbers. You just don't want it really shiny because then it'll really stick to the clay. Yeah, we want it to stick well enough to cut around, but we don't want it to stick so well that it's hard to get off the clay. Okay. And this just takes a few swipes, and that's all. Now I think I'll just use flat colors for this. I think flat color, not blends, will be fine. Of course, you can use Skinner blends if you happen to have them. I'm just going to gather up some flat colors. Let's just do some color blocking with our shapes. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, peeps. Now, once you've got your pieces all prepared, just try tossing them around and making something, composing something. And I like this, just like these 4 pieces. Now, I'm going to make a prediction. When I make these, every piece will have this and probably the spiral. It's just because I know myself so well. I think every piece is going to have those 2 things. Okay? Now, once you've got that pretty much set in your mind, I'm just going to make a pin. I changed my mind. I'm not making earrings. Although I could make earrings. Could, very easily. Now, I fished out these colors from my clay box. I just grabbed them. So these are my sort of selected colors. Now, I think for the first one, I'm going to play it a little safe. I'm going to make this curvy part black. And onto that black, I'm going to use these brighter colors like that. Just almost, you know, these bright color blocky colors. Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to take each of my chosen colors. I'm going to roll them each through probably setting 4. Because it's a pin, it's not going to be the thinnest thing. If I'm working earrings, I make these, well, look how thin this is. I made these for a different pair of earrings. So they're quite thin, probably through setting 4 or 5. So for our pin, I'm either going to do 4 or maybe even 3. Make it just a little bit thicker. All right, so each of these will be rolled through setting number 3 or 4. We'll see when we get there. Okay, peeps, I've got my colors rolled out. Now I'm just going to press the first one to my tile, and I am going to go ahead and cut one of each of these 3. Now this is the backing. This is sort of the spine. Let's just call this the spine. And onto the spine, I'm going to be placing these other elements. I don't know the exact order of color I want. Doesn't matter. It's just so easy to do. I might as well just do one of each in each color. So now I've got my needle. I'm just gonna scoot it around. I think it would be fun to make lots and lots of these in all different colors and just start throwing them around and seeing what happens. Okay, not literally throwing them around, but, you know, arranging them and seeing how they work out. La, la. Okay, there's the second one, the first. Now, because this is, I'm going to do it in both directions. Don't know, one direction might be better than another. As I said, this is not difficult. Just hold it down, then run your needle around. And I'll do it this one, the comma, the other way. Like so. Now I'm going to do the same thing with each of my colors. This way I have every option that I could possibly want. Okay, so there's one. I'm going to move on to this lime green and then finally the blue. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so I decided to do American cheese too. So these are going in the oven right now. I'll be back. Okay, peeps, so all of these are cured. Now it's time to put it together. Yeah. Okay, so here we have the piece I'm going to use as the base. I believe it was this way. Just gonna put it like this so I have a little more room. Cut around. This has been rolled through setting number 3, which is the same setting as all of my various cutouts. Yeah, you really have to hold it down because it will move. Mine moved just slightly, but not too bad. All right, so here's our spine. Okay, so I'm going to use the blue one here. I'm going to use the reddish, the berry one here, like so. And let's use these limey ones up here. I think I'll use them both, like so. Let me pull my sleeves back. Okay, so let's start with the easy ones, the lime ones. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because these are all cured, those are raw, I find it much, much easier to do this way. Just press and hold the cured piece on top, run your needle around like so, then remove that cutout, and then you will insert this right in that space. But you need to put liquid on, and you need to make sure that the clay is really snug against the edge. Okay, that's important. As it is, they could separate, okay, which is something we do not want to happen. To push it in, and then you may have to push the raw clay in a bit as well. Just take it and just push it in so that you've got this clay snug against, in this case, the comma. All right, let's do the next one. This guy's going to go over there. This is kind of funny looking, isn't it? That's okay. I like this series. I'm starting to like it very much. It's just, well, it's very playful. Yeah. I'm feeling the need for a little playfulness in my life. All right, liquid clay. Like so. Push it in. And if you have to push it in a little further, that's okay too. As I said, the important thing is that that black clay is snug against the cutout. All right, so let's get this one in next. Like so. We've got that little bit of black in there. We'll just leave that there too. Remove that. Then I believe it's about right there. Liquid clay. Definitely needed on the inside. Put it in, push. Then, if necessary, take a tool. See how it really does need to be pushed in. Want that piece good and stuck. right. One more. I like them. I like them. Yeah, I mean, they do have a very Matisse kind of thing happening. Was not my intent, but yeah, evidently. I really think they do. Now, if you really stick the black clay to the tile, then you can do all this cutting. Not worry too much about that coming up. So now I've got to remove the things, the areas that were underneath, right? Yeah. And this guy was like that. I think so. Yep, it was like that. So now I have to do my liquid clay thing here and here and here, approximately there, and then around there. Hopefully I got it. Okay, so I do have spaces. Got to tighten this up. So that means, you know, I can probably tighten it up by pulling it out a bit from there, and that definitely helped. So this, a slightly thicker area was now filling the space. But the other two spaces I will definitely have to work a little harder at. Like so. Gotta push that back in. Yep, definitely. No spaces. Because if there are spaces, then you have a really good chance that these little pieces are just going to come out. So I'm just going to push it in. I will retexture these areas that I'm pushing.
Louis wants in, honey.
Oh, Louis outside. Thank you. I'll get him in a minute. Okay, now let's texture, and then I will get my doggy. Yeah, he wants it. That dog wants it. Okay, so I might as well just texture all of this again. Just really push it in there so that I have no spaces between the cured clay and the raw. Good. Now this is going to be cured in the oven. I'll be back. Okay, peeps, this is cured, so let's get it off the tile. Now we're going to put our pin back on. And at this point, you want to be careful. You can see all these separate pieces. Pieces like this could just fall out. This could fall out. So you want to treat this pretty carefully, all right? Gingerly. Okay, so let's put our tie tack on. Now, this pin is going to be very light. I think all I need is one tie tack, so let's put it right there. Press it down. Now, I'm going to back this with clay that I've rolled through setting 3. Okay, so it's not the thinnest, but it's not the thickest either. The total pin is going to be quite thin, so I think the backing could be a little thicker. That's why I'm doing 3. All right, let's take our liquid clay. Just brush some on the back. Not too much, just enough. Too much, and it starts actually dissolving the raw clay. Also, it gets very difficult to handle because suddenly this clay sheet is going to be slipping all over. You want just enough so that it grips, not so much that it turns it into a slippery mess. Yeah, it can happen. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. I think you guys know how I know. Yeah, it can be quite the mess. Just a nice coating. We want it to be tacky, not slippery. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. Where's the cap to this? Oh, there you are. All right. Excuse me. My sinuses, my dreadful sinuses. All right, let's get this secure to the back. Like so. And you can see that I did roll the clay through setting 3, and then I rolled it again with the texture sponge because it's easier. Let's trim away the excess because it just gets in the way. Now remember, you do have to treat this pretty carefully, all right? Because at any point these pieces could separate. Now you're going to use whatever tool works best for you at this point. Sometimes I use my blade because the blade is actually sharper than the craft knife. Yeah, by a lot actually. So perhaps on straight shots like this, you can just take your blade and use it like so. And I think you can probably even see that there's less drag on the clay when I use the blade. But then again, getting into some areas is not so easy with the blade. So whenever I can, I will try to use the blade. And then in the tight areas, use this guy. Yeah, this guy. Okay, like in here, you know, I can't get my blade in there, can I? So I'm going to have to use this. I don't always cut from the front. Sometimes you cut from the back. It's a little easier to trim. Let's see if that happens. Okay. So in the back, from the back, sometimes this kind of trimming is a little bit easier. Just take your craft knife and just kind of swivel it, and that will usually trim nicely. Sometimes you will cut against your finger, like so. Just be careful, don't move too fast. And you want to do a good job in areas like this because you can't really sand. So you want to make it as perfect as possible so you don't find yourself having to sand and then actually not being able to. Okay, I can sand easily these areas on the outside, but not so easily in through here. So pay special attention, extra attention to what's going on in there. Okay, now this little guy here, I think that's a little piece of cured clay, so I am going to have to sand that away. All right. I can do this like so. Using this guy, as I said, it is quite a bit sharper. All right, so I've showed you how to cut a very tight area where you cannot get a blade in, and how to use the blade. So I will finish, because essentially it's the same thing again and again. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, peeps, I did all my trimming. It looks really good to me. Now, this is an easy one to cure. I'm just going to flip it face down. This is cotton batting, so it's all going to go, oop, I forgot my signature cane, so I'm going to put that on. This is kind of funny. It looks like a rabbit. Looks a bit like a rabbit. A wabbit. Just a bit. Why not? Okay. So this is going to go in the oven. I think I'll put it right here. I'll put it right there. That looks like a good place. In the oven we go. I'll be back. Okay, peeps, so the piece is done. It's cured. And the one possible thing you're going to want to do at this point is sand the edges. I know it may seem like kind of a pain. If you have something like this, you can use it. But if you don't have something like this, well, heck, all you have to do is take a piece of... Now, let me get a smaller piece, because that one is huge. Okay, P80 is a little coarse, P180. And just hold it and move the piece against the paper. You know, it just makes it look a little better. And I don't spend too much time on this. Mostly concentrating on the areas that I can reach easily. You know, some areas you're not going to be able to reach, like in there, well, you're probably not going to need it. So try to do the areas that you can reach, and I wouldn't really stress about those areas you can't. In here, that actually looks just fine. I could probably do a little bit more. So a situation like that, perhaps I take a metal file. I bought a bunch of these metal files at Harbor Freight. They're really cheap. I set this one in clay, but they're quite inexpensive. And they're good for just, you know, that kind of thing. So I hit primarily this edge. Okay, now here we go around here. Not going to worry too much about the splat arms. And let me continue around like so. Okay, so let's put a little bit of Nivea on. I kind of dusted it off, dusted the piece off, but you know, I didn't sand all that much, just along the edge. So there's really not that much to do here either. Okay. These are cute. Oh, I like them. Let me just rub just a bit on the surface. I think this is a fun project. You can see I have made a lot more shapes. I have more shapes and colors in the oven right now. So I'll be making, I have a feeling I'm going to be making more than a few more. Just throwing different shapes and colors together on that black spine to make some pins. Might be a cute ornament. Oh yeah, these are funny. I like them. Okay, everybody, here we are at the end of class. Did you have fun? I hope you had fun. I don't always do classes that are fun, but I gotta tell you, I found this so much fun, and the process so enjoyable. And the end result just makes me very happy. I think they're quite cheerful. Now, one thing I did notice, and here we are at the end, this was the first one I did, and then I think I did this one, and I like them very much, but you can see that the elements seem very just separate, right? Well, then I cut more shapes, and I cut this kind of, this shape that almost looks like a dog. Yeah, or some kind of very curvy, loose steampunk thing. But the way I started using it, I think it creates a more pleasant design. It cups around, I've been cupping it around this large spiral, and somehow it just makes the whole design a little more cohesive, I think, rather than separate elements, separate. So, give this a go. Try cutting a shape like that and then inserting it and seeing if it does the same thing in your pieces and maybe pulls a design together. Okay, so that's it. That's all I have to say. I have, look at this. I have all of these waiting for me. As I said, I couldn't stop myself. But if you've watched the class, and I think you have if you're at the end, I think you'll know that these are so simple to make once you have your various clay templates. All right, so I guess that's all I have to say, and hang on to those templates. Of course, you can always use them for other things. All right, so I don't know how many of these I'm gonna make, but I'm gonna make a lot more. Okay, peeps. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for, well, stopping in. And I guess that's all I have to say. Until we meet again, I am signing off. Bye.